Greetings, fellow slingers. Welcome back to Roll the Hard 20. Well, with the prologue out of the way, it's time for the meat and potatoes of this season. As a little behind the scenes, which I normally save for the after action report, when I first started writing this season, which I know seems as though it was many months ago, I had originally envisioned it as being a long season. Not as long as Collateral Damage, but certainly on par with Lot 27. So I gotta say that when Sam and Tony and I sat down to record the episodes for this season, which took place over a couple of days, I had to make sure that it ran smooth and by the numbers. And that being said, as with all my homebrew scenarios, they're open playgrounds. The agents can go anywhere they want, talk to whoever they want, investigate anything, and nothing is off limits. And I gotta say, these agents, I knew I had written something special because they were making choices that I could almost instinctively see them making, probably before they even rolled the first die. And it's safe to say that I think this one hit the sweet spot because it just seemed so fluid, so natural. And I know that we recorded all this stuff and we have all the episodes already edited and done, but even while I was listening to the edit, I have to say that I was intrigued with the whole season, and I hope you all will be as well. You know, I frequently hear about the quality of the show and the stellar role-playing of the players, and for that, I really want to say thank you. Thank you all, each and every one of you. And I also want to say to not keep it to yourselves, but to tell others about the show. Tell them how much you really enjoy it. Let's really get the word of mouth out there so more people can enjoy this show, and hopefully the show will grow in response to that. As always, I say check out our YouTube channel at Roll the Hard 20, and I'm hoping you guys are finding it already. Leave us that 5-star rating and a review on whatever podcast app you listen to the show on. And as always, warm up your dice and top off your glass, because you know why? Roll the Hard 20 is about to present to you Little Treasures, Episode 2. Enjoy. Yeah, that's always good. I remember that last day I was there, Tone and I were hanging out. We went to Troy's. Remember that, brother?
I do.
I think I was there too, wasn't I? Oh no, not the time you came down to see him, but the last day before you moved, we were there, I think, right?
No, we went to someplace by the Spectrum.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
We went to BJ's that night.
Yeah, too bad we didn't get
the listeners, man.
But I was feeling nostalgic.
Oh, shit. Take it in the can, huh? Foster's.
2 meetings there, friends.
All right, sure shot. It's funny for the listeners. I actually came across an old review of the show. Remember that one I was telling you about where they're like, yeah, the show's good. It's just not really for me. The GM has too many dick and fuck jokes and this and that. And I was like,
well, yeah, you got to weave in some fart jokes in between those as well. Otherwise,
the toilet humor is always impressive.
To a degree. To a degree. But I mean, it's us. I mean, we lean into who we are and to who our target audience is. All right, my fellow brethren. Are we ready to start this off?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah? All right. Greetings, fellow slinging agents of the wild. Welcome back to Roll the Hard 20. It is I, your trusted handler, Brian, and with me, my hard slingers of Yohor.
Into the fray.
Yeah.
Welcome to Season 18. We have for your listening pleasure our Delta Green homebrew scenario, Little Treasures. And I've been talking this thing up for a while. When we did Sam's epilogue, was that last night or the night before?
That was last night, my friend.
Wow, that was last night? No, it wasn't. Was it? It was.
It was.
I had said, that we had hoped to get these things out sooner, but, with our schedules and everybody else's schedules, and then finally we got hit by Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton, that finally it is upon us. And, I got that jitter again all day today, like I did with Lot 27 and Under a Pill. Whenever I'm ready to run something for you too, like homebrew, I always get the jitters because I feel like I'm about to get grilled. So,
Well, yeah, running it for you two, Bono and the Edge, and then those two other guys.
it's
Very,
that Edge fucker, only because he wears that stupid little derby hat.
that's a Tim Pool hat, right?
It's what?
That's a beanie, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, he's wearing like a little Tom Waits hat then. Then he's cool.
Who
Tom Waits for no man.
Little treasures. It's November 3rd, 8:30 at night. Agent Ichimaru Kimura and Agent Paulie Adesso, you've been asked to meet with your handler Heisenberg down at the Hilton by South Coast Plaza in California. When you arrive, you don't even make it into the hotel itself, but rather you see Heisenberg leaning against a silver Dodge Charger in the parking lot. He motions for the two of you to come over to him.
Will.
He gestures into the back seat of the car as he gets behind the wheel. He drives across the freeway and parks in an old deserted Best Buy parking lot. Gets out as the two of you get out. And he looks up at the sky, and then he looks back at you two and he says, "There's an old saying, old blood is washed away under a new moon's bath," meaning every new moon, the slate is clean and we start anew. At least that's what the ancients thought. Gentlemen, it's good to see you both together again, instead of one at a time. Again, I can't apologize enough for the escapades that went down in New Orleans, and I hope that we could put it behind us. I know that what we talked about still holds true, and if you need me, you let me know. The location of where your next case takes place would almost seem comical were it not a reality. Have either of you been to Marblehead, Massachusetts? Located 4 miles southeast of Salem, Marblehead is a coastal New England town in Essex County and lies along the north shore on a small peninsula that extends into the northern part of the Massachusetts Bay. At the time of the 2020 census, its population was 20,441. As a coastal town, Marblehead is one of the state's wealthier communities. Most of the town's workforce is employed by yacht clubs and minor tourism. However, it's bottlenecked, making the city almost inaccessible in severe weather. All this comes into play because it's not like Marblehead is a junction point along a highway. No, it's a destination. No one goes there unless they want to. I'm going to need for you both to expand your repertoire for this case, as it involves several children that have gone missing in Marblehead over the last 3 years. With the latest child number 7, having gone missing on November 1st, it's been almost 72 hours, and I've taken a personal interest in this. Of these 7 children that have gone missing over the past 36 months, none of whom were over the age of 2 years old at the time in which they went missing. No bodies have been recovered, nor have any of their personal effects they had on when they went missing. Neither the parents nor the police have received ransom notes or calls. And now this 7th child gone missing, 2-year-old Maggie Stevens. Between you and me, I think we all know what kind of outcome we can expect for any child missing after the first 48 hours, even if we don't have closure. It's been run up the ladder to inquire if this may be a case of child trafficking. We haven't ruled it out, but there's something about this that leans towards no.
What is that? Why do we think that?
Mostly because of the location of Marblehead and it being a close-knit community. Most strangers that wind up in Marblehead usually get reported to the local authorities, and they're weeded out pretty quick.
You said you had a special connection with one of the victims? What is this?
Not with one of the victims. I need to tell you gentlemen something personal. A while back, when I was with the local police department, my daughter went missing. She was never found, and that's how I got plugged into the agency. So as you can guess, missing children hit me the hardest. That's why I really need for you two to get to the bottom of this. Now, right now, the media is not reporting on this at all. And I'm sure the police are not leaning as far into the investigation as they should be. It's possible this could be being done based on moon cycles. And that gives us just under a month before they strike again if they hold true to it.
You say this has been happening over the last 3 years?
That's correct.
Maybe that's something we look into, Odessa, then, about lunar cycles over the last 3 years. I don't know what that could be. Perhaps if there's an eclipse or something. I know we've dealt with those in the past.
Well, disappearances depend upon the moon cycle. Ordinarily, that sounds like a cult to me. And maybe this is ordinary. Because if it's not, I mean, there's several covens or people who like to fancy themselves witches that go by the moon. There's also lycanthropes that like to affiliate themselves with the cycles of the moon. Which means, since the bodies haven't shown up and there's no ransom notices, I'm thinking it's some kind of cult. It's using these kids as sacrificial objects, whatever it is, focuses. They're probably killing these children and either doing something with the remains, either consuming them or burying them or doing something. But I think that's where we're going to go with this. There seems to be a reason it's done on the lunar cycle and there are no remains, and the victims' families are not notified with ransom notices or anything else. They're just, the children seem to me to be instruments, means to an end for some reason. So we're going to have to find out what that is and adjust accordingly.
Well, so far, there's 7 children that are missing over the past 3 years. There's been more full moons than 7 over the last 3 years. But if you are right, Odesso, then I definitely want to see you delve deeper into that. When you arrive in Marblehead, check in with Detective James Wallace. Word is spreading that he's unable to solve these missing children's cases, and that there will be more of them if he's left on. The parents have been leaning hard on him, and needless to say, some of them have been more than a little vocal about having Wallace removed from the case. So you may want to be the go-between for the families and law enforcement. Just know that your time with him may be limited, and if he does get removed, this whole case is going to stall on account of whoever takes over will be starting from square one again. Or worse, sweep it under the rug.
We won't let that happen.
Now, I've got something I'm looking into on my end, and if it pans out, I'll be in touch. Do you have any other questions?
Is there any forensic evidence at all? Or have you been able to identify a pattern that unifies all the victims?
The only common denominator that we've been able to discern thus far is that all the victims have been 2 years old at the time of their abduction. Anything else, you're going to want to get in touch with Detective Wallace and see if he's been able to come up with any other common factors.
Are they evenly spread between males and females?
I don't have the report in front of me. That's something you're going to have to take up with Wallace when you get there.
All right. So what we're looking for is some kind of pattern that unifies all the victims, or maybe it's tied to the location, or maybe it's tied to something. Obviously, the fact that they're all under 2 tells us there's a pattern to begin with. So the next question is, what other details about the pattern will give us an indication of who's responsible?
Well, I'm
All
no
children
witch.
under 2.
I'm no witch or warlock, but I know they celebrate things like winter and summer solstice, things like that. If there's 2 of those a year, and 2 times 3 is 6, and we're on the 7th missing child, so maybe we're entering the new year or something for them. Who knows?
Right.
Bunch of crazy, crazy people.
It's got to be, it sounds like a cult of something or some kind, simply because of the victim selection, right? All under 2? Okay, why is that necessary? Generally speaking, these kinds of rituals are tied to renewal, or like renewal of the body, renewal of the year, renewal of whatever. Or it could be somebody just trying to fancy themselves up a youth potion or something like that.
Well,
Way
we
to keep
know,
themselves alive, or who knows.
we know this for a fact, Adesso. There's always a cult. There's always some crazy person channeling something from the unknown. We know this is anything but a normal crazy person doing it because they're nuts.
Right.
We know it goes beyond that. Now we just have to figure out which coven, which cult it is, and then we have to put them down like we've done every other one.
Damn right. All right.
He leaves the keys to the silver charger in your care and starts walking off into the dark. As you look into the car, you see that there's an envelope in the center console. As you look through it, you see that there are 2 boarding passes for a late night red-eye flight right out of Orange County, which is 2 miles down the road. As you make your way through your respective flight connections, you fly into Boston Airport early the next morning on November 4th. Doesn't take you more than a few moments to procure your rental car, a dark blue Dodge Charger. You then begin your 12-mile drive towards Marblehead, passing old houses that line North Shore Road parallel to Broad Sound. The sense of history on this coast is prevalent. As the cold air buffets the windows, you can tell the snow season is right around the corner, but right now, everything looks like it's barely clinging to life. Officially organized in 1853, the Marblehead PD is one of the oldest police departments in the U.S., and the building, although it's been renovated several times over the years, cannot hide its ancestry. Tell me what you guys want to do.
Well, I mean, I assume that as we arrive, we have all of our gear with us as well. Myself with my jack blade and Glock and Tonto, and I assume Adesso has his beautiful 1D12. What is it you normally have?
It is it's a D10, and it is a Delta Elite 10 millimeter.
And do you have that shotgun armor that you normally wear that never get to use, though, but it
That must
protects
be
you?
Yeah.
so comfortable on the plane.
Yeah, you can only imagine, right? Yeah. I love those trauma plates, the ones that float. Have you seen those? It's really awesome. They make trauma plates that are level 3A and 3 plus that float, which are awesome, right?
We
You'd
all
think
float
that-
down here.
I was just going to say that.
Fuck King and his liberal bullshit. Shit, man. Anyway, moving on. The bottom line is, yeah, body armor would have been stored in luggage. He wouldn't be wearing it. But the Delta Elite with the wonderful Fed ID would be. And the soft body armor that would absorb the regular pistol and up to 45 ACP would be worn because it's comfortable. Oh, what time of the year is it?
It's November 4th.
Okay, so it's cold in this area. All right.
Very cold.
All right. Let's are we appropriately geared up for this? What I mean by that is we have the appropriate clothing.
To a degree.
Okay.
Think about Don Johnson in Dead Bang.
Got it. Now there's a callback. That's like referencing Michael Biehn in Time Bomb.
Oh, wow. That's a
You know,
stretch.
you guys should really wear something warmer. It's like cold out here.
With the gap.
Look at you with the gap, the chapstick. Listeners, if you haven't seen Dead Bang, go check it out.
Good flick.
Amazing movie. Very good movie. Way underrated. So as you make your way to the police department into the precinct, you notice that there's not really a lot of people bustling about, even though it's one of the oldest PDs in the U.S. There doesn't seem to be a lot of people hands-on. You see a few cops milling about, you see a secretary, and you see some open office doors in the back of the department. Tell me what you'd like to do.
We want to make contact with our primary the primary detective, Mr. James Wallace. So I guess we'll go to the police department and ask for him. Is anybody at the desk that can answer any questions for us? Or
I'll hit the little ding ding if there's no one there.
There's a young woman sitting at the desk filling out some form of forms.
Okay.
She looks up and sees you two and says, may I help you two?
Yes. Hi, I'm Agent Adesso, and this is Agent Ichi Kimura. We're here to see I believe it's Detective James Wallace.
Yes, Detective Wallace. He's in his office in the back. You can see him. It looks like he's about ready to get going. I know he had a meeting he had to get to, but you could probably still catch him. Let me buzz you through.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hits the buzzer. Bzz, the little, it's not even really a door. It's almost like a waist-high little partition thing that just swivels in.
Got it. We'll go back. Try to make nice. Want to build up our... Each, do you have any coffee?
I'm sure they have some of the world's best tasting coffee here somewhere. I'll get that when we need it.
Absolutely. All right, so we'll go and try to introduce ourselves to James Wallace before he leaves.
As you walk into his office, you notice a tall man, slightly disheveled, wearing a charcoal suit. He's fiddling about, grabbing some things off the desk, and as he turns, you notice that he's got this red mark on the left side of his face. He sees the two of you, and he scoops up his keys from the desk and grabs his folder, and then looks at the two of you and says, "Can I help you, gentlemen?"
Good afternoon, or morning, or evening, or whatever time it is appropriately.
Evening. Sorry, we're suffering from jet lag, sir.
Right.
I'm Agent Kimura.
And
Sounds
I'm
like you're
Agent
suffering
Adesso.
from lack of information to me.
That too. Well, that's why we came here to talk to you. We're from the FBI, and we know that you've got some problems in this jurisdiction. We'd like to offer our services. We're uniquely trained, and we've had a lot of experience in similar cases such as this, the disappearance of a series of people. In this case, it's unusual that they're all under the age of 2, but Agent Oichi and I are uniquely qualified in this area, have been specially trained, and this has caught the attention of the Bureau. We'd like to help.
Well, I'm glad the feds finally decided to show up.
Well, we don't respond quickly.
I can tell. I contacted your behavioral science unit 2 days ago requesting their assistance, and I never heard back. So I'm just surprised that the two of you just showed up, but I'm grateful. Don't get me wrong. He leans back against the cabinet behind the desk right next to the copier and says, "Let me know how I can fill you two agents in."
Before we get started, I'd like to do I don't know what role it would be, but the red mark on his face, does it look like some sort of a trauma from a punch, or is it a cut, or was he sleeping on a pillow and it's the zipper mark? Being in martial arts and combat, I would hope I would know the difference between that and something as mundane as a sleeping crease.
No, you have a very good eye for this. Looks like somebody has open palmed him on the side of the head.
Does it look like it's, now I don't know how I would know. Maybe I can do a luck roll. Self-inflicted, like he's like, stupid, stupid, stupid. Or, like you said, the office is pretty empty. So unless it was old, Madge at the front desk.
It looks like a right hand had hit the left side of his face.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, I won't bring that up now, but I'll note that and make sure that if Adesso doesn't catch that I bring that up to him.
We'll wait a little bit.
He's waiting for you.
I did notice it. I put it in my notes. Tall man, red mark, left side of his face.
Yeah. So we have the basis of information at the moment. Is it 6 children that are missing? 7?
7 children, 6 sets of parents.
Over the last 3 years.
Yes, over the last 37
Well, let's start
months.
with the most...
Well, but real quick. Okay, so 7 children, Over 3 years. 6 sets of parents, you just said. Does that mean that 2 of the children were siblings?
Yeah, the Ottwiles, they had twins that were both taken, Aubrey and Audrey. Unfortunately, their parents, Jerry and Letitia, the loss was just too great. Unfortunately, they committed suicide.
Like a murder-suicide?
Not from what we saw. It looked like it was, they took care of themselves. I think,
Okay.
yeah, they tried to move forward. We had try to give them a lot of support from the church. But it just, yeah, it was a real dark time. But I mean, the dark times are far from behind us, as you can see right now. I mean, we're dealing with, like I said, 7 children in the last 36 months. And
Are you familiar with all the victims, this being such a small town?
not so much the victims. I mean, we're talking children, 2 years old.
I mean,
None
the
of them-
families.
no-
The
well,
families are
it's-
also part of the victims, in my opinion.
Yeah, coming and going, really. I mean, when I go home at night, I try to leave it behind, unlike my predecessor. But I knew them in passing.
Who's your predecessor?
It was Detective William Preston.
And have you been the main detective on all these missing cases? Or was he also on it and then you said he seemed to kind of work too hard or something where you can leave it alone?
No, he was part of it for a duration. Basically, I had this thing dropped in my lap because Preston bailed halfway through it. I guess his wife said something to the effect of, "I'm taking the kids and leaving because I'm sick of you bringing home your work." And just left me to play catch up with what he left me. And going through all of his notes, if you could call this fractured endeavor being organized, there seems to be a few persons of interest that the former Detective Preston never followed up with.
And who might that be? Perhaps we can help out with this if it seems pertinent to the current case.
Yeah, actually, that would be greatly appreciated if you want to help follow up.
Absolutely. That's why we're here. What do you need us to do? And we will help out in any way possible.
He looks down at the copier and he pulls a sheet of paper off of it. And he says, "Here you go. This is the list of my suspects and the parents." And as you look at this list of suspects, it's several names. One says Jonathan and Kathleen Stevens. Another says Conrad and Dorothy Hauser. One says Father Jack Miller. Another one says faculty at Abby's Little Treasures Daycare. And then it has a litany of the parents of all the missing children. As he looks at you and he says, "One of the things I still need to do is do a deep dive into the Stevens, see if there's an angle that's been overlooked, especially with Jonathan Stevens, the father. He's been really evasive, and I haven't seen him since I first questioned him. And as far as textbook suspect manual is concerned, you always suspect those that are closest to the victim that may have something to gain."
And the missing Maggie Stevens, that's the most recent, and that was 3 days ago or 2 days ago?
That's 3 days now, Agent.
I see you've made some notations about Abby's Little Treasures Daycare. Have you been able to do background workup on the employees there?
They're on my to-do list. When I was looking through Preston's notes, I consider them a common denominator, albeit a thin one, which spans all the missing children. It's a faculty where all these children had at one time or another been enrolled, but it doesn't appear that any of them were enrolled at the same time, or maybe they were. I don't know. It's one of those things I still need to follow up on.
It seems very convenient that all these kids that are missing all went to this place. Now, are there other daycare facilities like that around here, or is this the only one? So it was unfortunately the only one that they could all go to.
Well, Abby's Little Treasures is right in the center of Marblehead. Most parents use it, unless they homeschool or they just don't send their kids there. My only problem is that this has been going on for 3 years, and every child that has gone missing so far has been under 2. So some of these children that went missing recently probably didn't even go to the daycare at the same time that the other kids would have gone to. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, if they were missing, they went to the daycare for how long did they? What are the years of this daycare? How old do the children have to be to attend?
I believe it's a year old, 9 months old. Like I said, it's one of those things I still need to follow up on.
But what I'm getting at, I'm sorry if my question was not clear. Is this a daycare that specializes only in young children, ages 1 to 3, or is there a middle one that goes from 5 to 7, and then a higher one that goes from 8 to 10?
I think they have some 5-year-olds in that, maybe a 6 or 7-year-old. I don't think it goes much higher than that. I think as soon as the kids are eligible to go into kindergarten, then they move on. It's not a full-on curriculum there. It is something that I think that we do need to follow up, and if you are able to help me partition this list, then just let me know the individuals that you would like to go down the line and talk with.
Well, Agent Odessa, what do you think? Should we take the daycare and potentially Jonathan and Kathleen Stevens?
It's a good place to start. I mean, all the kids at one time or another, according to these documents, were at Abby's daycare. Although I'm a little more curious about this priest that you mentioned, Father Jack Miller. He moved into town about the same time when all the disappearances started. Have you spoken to him recently?
And like I said, I'm on my way out the door when you agents stopped me, and I was just going to start going down the line. Currently, he's employed at Our Lady of Mercy. It's a church that's been built overlooking the bay. I don't know if he's working today. Today's Thursday, so he may not be there. He may be at his residence.
Well,
Gotcha.
it appears to be business hours for the daycare. If the priest isn't there, Odessa, maybe we go to the daycare after that.
Sounds good. He might be available first thing in the morning and all. Maybe he celebrates, Thursday morning mass. That doesn't sound right. Yeah. What time of the year is it, brother? Is it? No, you said it was November.
November 4th.
Yeah, so this is getting into
This is a lapsed Catholic here for you listeners.
yeah. We're getting out of ordinary time and starting getting into the festive season, so he may start ramping up. So possibly he's got some parishioner hours and confessions and such, especially around the holidays. Well, let's swing by and say hi.
Detective Wallace snaps his fingers and says, "You know what, there is something else a little strange. I found this report of a family who claimed their child was almost abducted last year, and I didn't know if I should write it off or what, but Conrad and Dorothy Hauser have a son, Richard. He didn't go missing, but something strange did happen to the family, and it was never followed up with. And it's possible that Detective Preston was too busy with something else. Hell, I don't know. I can't make excuses for the man, but
You know if he went to the daycare?
He did. At one point, he did go to the daycare, and I wanted to follow up with the parents and kind of get maybe some insight of a set of parents whose child had not disappeared. So, I want to be as accommodating as possible to the both of you. Tell me what you would like me to do, who you would like me to go speak with. I called you agents. You agents came to my aid. Please let me know.
If you could, we'd like you to talk to the parents of the children. Let's see, Conrad and Dorothy Hauser. If you could talk to them to find out why they are so strongly in the belief that their child was almost abducted and what factors were deciding in not getting the kid abducted. It was a near miss, but what made it a near miss? I think Agent Each and I will talk to the priest, and then we'll talk to the daycare providers, and then we'll finally round that up with the interview of Jonathan and Kathleen Stevens, our latest victim's parents.
Sounds good. Thank you, agents. He grabs his keys and escorts you out of the office, starts heading towards the parking lot. He gets in his cruiser and he takes off north.
Got it. Well, what do you say? Each we go and talk to this priest and see what his connection is. I mean, he's the most likely subject because the disappearances didn't start until he arrived. And what better than a religious figure to lead some kind of fringe nut group of people in sacrificing kids than someone who's got already a connection to the ether, the other world, the other side, beyond the veil, whatever we want to say.
And you know that whatever we do, we are going to have to re-interview whoever Detective Wallace interviews, because he's not going to be answering or asking the things that we need.
Right. But at least puts the parents on alert.
Maybe we'll get some grunt work out of it and some answers, so we don't have to go through the whole song and dance with them.
My thought is, since the parents aren't really suspects, there's just too many of them, they are probably not going to give us useful information other than background. I mean, our real suspects, I believe, are going to be the priest and whoever's working at the daycare.
The daycare would be my number one. The priest seems like what is that in movie terms, a red herring? Oh, it's the priest. Of course he's the bad guy. No, I think that's just something to distract us. But I think we also need to make sure that we talk with the parents of little Maggie, who seem to be not wanting to talk when they were questioned before.
Got it.
That means they haven't been pressed enough, or asked the right questions, or had coffee given.
There we go. The coffee, I think, is the thing.
Styrofoam.
All right, I still think we should talk to the priest. He seems to be so obvious, which is probably why you're right. He's just a distraction. But let's get that out of the way.
Yeah, he's just a distraction the handler put in the way to slow down the recording of these sessions.
Trust me, I have no desire to slow us down. We're on the train. The California Zephyr heading out. So you make your way to Our Lady of Mercy. On Sunday, everyone in Marblehead is religious. And Marblehead is home to 13 churches. The latest one, which was built just over 3 years ago, is overseen by Father Jack Miller. As you approach this church, you could see that it's built on a high foundation next to the Boston Yacht Club, giving it a view of the Bowdoin Rock Sound and the ocean beyond when it's clear to do so. You see these beautiful, ornate doors, these bone-white walls, mosaic windows, or just ornate in the entire structure. And the doors are open and accommodating to anybody wanting to venture inside.
Well, I guess we'll go on in and say hi.
As you enter, you see the real rich wood pews. You see all the crucifixions all along the walls. And you see an older gentleman. He looks like he's in his 70s, the head of the church. Looks like he's going over some notes or whatever. And he looks up and he sees the two of you as you enter. And he's humbly comes over. He's dressed all in black and with the white collar and stuff. He's like, "Hello, how may I help the two of you? Are you new in town? I haven't seen the likes of the two of you before."
Hi, this is Agent Each Kimura, and I'm Agent Polly Odessa. We're from the FBI. We've been brought in specifically to help with a string of disappearances in this particular locale. I think you might be familiar with some of them. All the victims are under the age of 2.
Yes, I've heard quite a bit about that, Agent. By the way, but you're coming to ask me for my help. I haven't been this excited since the last time I've seen Case File on the Discover Channel.
I see. Yes, is there a place we can talk?
Well, certainly. Come into my office. And he leads you back to the rectory. You see there's a nice little table off to the side, and he says, "How may I be of assistance?"
Were any of the families parishioners of yours?
I'm sorry, I'm just part of the church.
Did
But
you
I-
see any of them at church on Mass? Are they Catholics, or were they part of your congregation?
Well, I don't know all the people. I mean, are you wanting to speak to somebody in particular? My name is Father Thomas Mathers.
I'm sorry, we were here to see a Father Jack Miller.
Yeah, our mistake. We apologize.
Father Jack, he's not here today. He's at home, I believe.
Gotcha. Does he have the day off, or does he stay at the rectory?
He's probably preparing his sermon for this Sunday.
So he doesn't live at the rectory, is that correct?
No, he does not. He lives off-site.
Oh, great. Could you give us his address?
Sure, but I believe he's living with the Fitzgeralds right now. And he scribbles out this address and slides it across. Is everything okay with Jack? I mean, is there something I might be of assistance with?
Well, how long have you been here? Assigned here?
I've been here just over 9 months.
Okay.
I came from Connecticut.
Understood. So, do you happen to know if the Stevens are parishioners?
I believe at one time they were. I don't
how
know how
about,
their faith is or whether they've fallen away from the flock or not.
Okay. Do you happen to know if, Adesso checks his notes, if Thomas and Lily Bradford were parishioners?
I could possibly check that with my notes.
Oh, that'd be great. If you wouldn't mind.
No, I don't believe. He goes over to the registry and he starts looking at people that have made donations, contributions to the church, and he's looking at what was the last name again?
Bradford. Thomas and Lily Bradford.
No, I don't see their names here. That doesn't mean they didn't come here, but they never filed to get a tax form from us. I don't see them here.
How about Joel and Patricia Coolidge?
No, I don't see them either.
Got a couple more names here. How about Jerry and Letitia Otwell?
Yes, the Otwells. We haven't seen them in a while, though, but at one
Right.
point they were part of our church.
Gotcha. Ron and Louise McCready?
It shows that they showed up a few times. I see a few donations, but looks like they may have fallen from the wayside as well.
Okay. How about Dashiell and Mary Fairborn?
Nope, I don't see that here either.
And then the last set of parents, Jonathan and Kathleen Stevens.
Yes, I do show that Kathleen Stevens used to attend frequently. I don't think her husband was part of the entourage that showed up here.
Entourage?
Well, I know that she came with friends. She would always show up every Sunday with other women and whatnot. Just, I think she was making friends in the foyer, and they would all just come in together.
Do you guys have work with or do have anything to do with Abby's Little Treasures daycare?
Oh, no.
You don't have an outreach or anything like that with that organization?
I don't believe that they have a religious foundation over there. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I think that they like to expand their clientele by not restricting who they accept.
Got it. Okay, so they're not a secular, or they're not ecclesiastical, they're a secular daycare. Got it.
That's something you'd probably have to talk to the director with directly.
Yep.
You got that?
Of course. Do you happen to know who that is?
The director?
Yes.
I imagine her name is Abby or Abigail. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know the last name.
Not a problem. Okay.
And what time do you
thank you very
expect Father Jack Miller to come back here? I'd hate to interrupt him at his home if he's preparing for the sermon for this weekend. But
Usually he won't be back till Saturday night or Sunday morning. And then he works through the weekend diligently.
all right, and out of game. What day is it right now?
Thursday.
Okay, back in game. Well, I don't know if we can wait until Saturday night or Sunday. Do you think he would be bothered if we swung by his house?
He's a very warm and accommodating man. I don't see why that would bother him at all. I mean, everybody says hello and hey, how you doing on the street to him. He helped take me under his wing, and I believe he's a very good, gracious man, God-fearing man.
And you've enjoyed your time here in Marblehead for the last 9 months, was it?
Yes, that's correct. It's not without its faults. It gets a little chilly, but no chillier than Connecticut. I was actually hoping to possibly be transferred someplace a little more southern, perhaps. But it is what it is, I guess.
Well, yes, of course, the needs of the church outweigh our personal desires and what we think is our needs, and we go where we are assigned best.
How do you like living here? Is this suitable accommodations for you?
They take care of me. I get what I need, and that is all anybody could ask of the good Lord.
Indeed.
I've lived a warm, fulfilled life in my 72 years. I've been a missionary overseas, and I've enjoyed the magnitude of what the Lord has to offer on this beautiful planet of ours.
The bounty offered, yes.
Indeed.
Father Miller, appreciate your time.
No, I'm not
Appreciate
Father
your-
Miller. I'm Father Mathers. But
Mathers. Fitzgerald?
no. What do you get, like a bingo card that you're using?
No, I'm looking here. Fitzgerald is where our father is staying.
Yeah, he's staying with the Fitzgeralds.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And is this
This
a,
guy is Father Thomas Mathers.
Gotcha.
So I'm not part of the Catholic congregation. How does that work with two fathers? Like, what is that? Is this Southern California? I kid. What I mean is, do you do the sermons one week and then he does it the other? And like, how does that work?
Well, there'll be times that he'll ask me to take over for him if he wants me to present a specific message, or he's got a theme that he's running for the month or whatnot, and he'll assign me one of the books to study and take notes on and then present for the sermon for the weekend. Of course, by his discretion. I must submit it, of course.
I see.
I don't mind, though. I've seldom had my sermons rejected.
Well, if we're here Sunday, maybe we'll be able to stop by and see Father Miller's, and maybe if we're here longer, we'll be able to sit through one of yours.
That would be wonderful. I look forward to seeing you two agents again. I certainly hope I made an impact on your heart today.
Excellent. Yes, it's been very enlightening. If you wouldn't mind, Father Mathers, if you could just keep our interview between us, just until the investigation's complete.
Between me and God's ears.
Yes, we don't wish to scare any of the congregation or anything. We're purely asking questions because the church is such a common place where many different people gather. We figured this would be a great spot to see if the people that we're hopefully helping to bring back might have all came here at one point or another and all that.
Would you like me to phone Father Miller ahead and let him know to be expecting you to?
Do you think he would be concerned with us just dropping by?
Oh, I don't think so,
Unannounced?
but it's possible he might be indisposed at the time, or
What
possibly...
about the Fitzgeralds? Would they mind?
I believe the Fitzgeralds are in Florida this time of year. They have several properties, and I think that Father Miller is watching over their property right now. He's got a studio in back of their house.
Well, we have a very busy schedule today, so I would hate for you to inform him, and then we don't have the grace to stop by due to our busy schedule. So, if possible, we will stop by today or potentially tomorrow. I'd hate to trouble him thinking we're showing up and preparing tea for us and having it only to go cold.
Oh, very thoughtful of you. You got the heart of a saint.
With the body of a sinner, though, so I'm still working to become better.
Aren't we all? Very well, I must get back to my duties. Be well, agents.
Thank you. We appreciate it, Father. If we have any questions, we'll be sure to swing by and say hello.
He bids you farewell and shows you the door.
Got it. And we walk through that door. When we get outside now at earshot each, what are your thoughts?
Well, if this were a movie, I would say that he's the culprit, but he's only been here for 9 months. Put the blame on the old guy.
Right.
I don't know. We still have a bunch of people to interview. No real red flags sounded any alarms or anything other than this normal flags I get when walking into places where men who give up their life for a faith. And yeah, the red flags that are there are going to be there regardless.
Got it. Yeah, he doesn't fit our profile. We got to talk to.
He's only been here 9 months. That is the thing that,
Yeah.
of course, maybe he's coming in for the final 9 months to see it all happen in the flesh, you know.
Could be. What time is it now, GM?
It's probably like 10:15 in the morning.
Okay, what do you say we swing by Little Treasures, see if they've got anything to tell us?
Indeed. And then after that, I say we go see the Stevens. Stevens is.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go to the daycare then. See what we can see there.
You guys get behind the wheel of your rental car.
I'm
pull away.
surprised you haven't called a cachet yet.
Well, yeah. Let's just do our investigation first. We may need that later.
Well, you guys begin your drive away from Our Lady of Mercy and start making your way towards Abby's Little Treasures daycare. And we will pick that up next session.
We're coming for you, kids.
Yeah.
But I knew them in passing.
Who's your predecessor?
I have it, actually. Now I gotta
I'm
fucking
going
find
back.
it,
Far back. Magic mirror, where are you?
so- I want to give you the full name, so hold on a second.
I was just asking because
No,
I
it's
was thinking
important.
Okay.
It's important. It's actually
Okay.
part of the story. So
Okay. I actually didn't know if it might have been.
no, it's part of the story.
Well,
So-
no, I actually thought what I was saying is I thought it might be Heisenberg because he said that he was a lawman back in the day.
Thank you for joining us once again on Roll the Hard 20 podcast. Remember, you can find us and subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora Radio, iHeart Radio, Amazon Podcasts, and Audible. And if you like what you're listening to, be sure to leave us that 5-star rating and review. Don't forget about our YouTube channel at Roll the Hard 20. So if you're into watching and you want to help support the show, then head on over and hit that subscribe button. It really does help the show out. We can also be found in the wild on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, so don't forget to look for us there and check us out. You can also contact the show directly at rollthehard20podcast@gmail.com or head on over to the website at rollthehard20podcast.com where you can download the current show directly, pick and choose past shows from our archives, or view our galleries. We've got a lot of stuff posted over there, so check us out. And finally, join us on our Patreon at patreon.com/rollthehard20podcast, where you can become a hard slinger and pick up swag. So until next time, keep your dice warm and your glass topped off as you roll those hard 20s.